When I think of Texas, I think of big, and Texas is really big. We started in the southern part in Brownsville, and then we wound up here in South Padre Island, which is a very special place. We went dolphin watching, going back to nature. That's where you hear the whispers of life. Stay tuned within the next few minutes and you're gonna see Texas at its best.
Sitting here worrying, why you looking to find yourself somebody else? With me loving you, wanting you, baby. You not knowing.
The Casa de Palma Hotel is in the heart of Mcallen, where you can relax at the pool after a day of touring the city. The accommodations are very spacious.
All you wanna do is salad bar and jive. Don't even know this woman's alive, and I'm sitting here worrying why you're looking to find.
The Amas Museum has an extraordinary exhibit of stained glass windows, and it also features an exhibition of torture.
How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from
One of the wings is filled with Mexican crafts and masks.
How do you lose?
In the Pato restaurant, they serve typical Tex-Mex cuisine.
As I please.
Hi, I'm Yolanda Gonzalez, also known as Miss G. Not Mrs. G. Mrs. G was my mom, is my mom. She's 94 years old, still likes to come in and make sure that we're doing things right. And she doesn't have anything to do with the business, but she looks at me and says, you remember how things should be.
I'm Becky Guerra. My husband Che and I own the Nuevo Santander Gallery here in Mcallen. This is an art space that we've had for over 12 years. We are the oldest gallery in South Texas. We specialize in regional art. We also have deceased Texas and deceased Latin American artists that we kind of sponsor. My husband's a big Old West collector, so you'll see things like spurs, saddle, some swords and things throughout the gallery, because that's something that we offer, and they're all original. Everything you see is original. We do not carry lithographs or reproductions. We work with a lot of museums and private estates. These are interesting. These are called troneras, and troneras basically were signal flares or signal cannons that were used kind of in settling the frontier. People would put a little gunpowder in here, light a fuse through here, and they would explode. So they would use them in signaling, and also it's fun, kind of early fireworks, if you will. People, especially from out of state, arrive into Mcallen. One of the things they naturally look for is the historic or the arts district of a city. And this has come to be the arts district in Mcallen. I'm very pleased to say. The Spanish vaquero was very different than the Mexican cowboy, and he was actually the first cowboy we had in the United States. And if you look, his saddle and his accoutrements on his saddle were different than the American cowboy that's evolved from him. He had wonderful large cross stirrups that he kind of used both in battle, and then they were very ornamental. The Spanish loved decoration and ornaments. Big round spurs, with curly cues. This is called a media luna staff. They use that for harvesting longhorns, because of course at that time, longhorns were very wild. They did not rope them like the American cowboy does. That's something that's developed. They would literally go in and harvest them by clipping the back of their Achilles heel, thereby being able to catch up with the cow. So this has been wonderfully researched. The base of this bronze reflects family brands from the entire province of Nuevo Santander, which included part of Bexar County, part of Mexico, part of Mcallen area, Brownsville. So along the base of the Bronze are all the different family brands that were the first recognized brands. So meticulously researched. And then his companion piece, La Cornuda, which is basically the horned one, La Cornuda, and Mama Longhorn and Calf.
My name is Greg Schuler. I'm the administrative assistant for cultural arts. This is the Mcallen Creative Arts Incubator. We rent low-cost studio space to, we have 12 different studios, to local artists. They must pass, of course, a background check and submit a business plan. This way, I guess they don't get too comfortable. We don't want them to live here forever. We want them to get set, get their business started, and then go on and move on to bigger and better things, open their own studio.
I've been here in Mcallen since 2000, and I came down mainly to focus more on this. I do primarily portraits, and mostly in the graphite pencil. Some of the things, the association with the chamber, and I've done some things for the city. And you see over here among these pieces, the one's the mayor. And when I moved down here, I did a lot of Native Americans. I moved here from Dallas.
Oh, okay.
I lived in Dallas and Fort Worth, and I also lived in New Mexico for a while. And that's where I got into the Native American stuff. And I traveled out to the Crow Indian Fair and places like that, the ceremonials in New Mexico and also in Oklahoma. This old gentleman here was a Crow elder at the Crow Fair. The Crow Fair lasts about a week, and they have a parade every day, and they get in the full dress and ride in the parade every day. And he was 84, riding in the parade every day. But there's more to the story. As Paul Harvey says, the rest of the story is that his mom and dad were there. But since I've been down here, I've been trying to focus a little more on the culture here. And there's a couple of pieces out here in the gallery that I've done that reflect that more of the Hispanic, more of the cowboy. We actually got the cowboy from Mexico and South America. He's not an American phenomenon. He's actually a Hispanic phenomenon, that vaquero.
The name Kinta, as you all know, Kinta means in Spanish a country home. Kinta. Masatlan, probably they say because he did a lot of fishing in Masatlan, he named his house Kinta Masatlan. Okay, about 7 years ago, the city bought it. The city bought the whole building and tried to restore it, and they didn't know what to use it for. They started renting it for weddings and parties and all that, and they didn't like that idea. They still do, but then they gave it another use, and now it's open as a bird sanctuary or a world birding center satellite. And in it, you're going to see that it has a lot of history, and there's a lot of seminars going on for nature tourism and how to preserve different habitat of birds and plants and all that. It sits in about 7 acres of land, and this is pretty much the way this area used to look, 1900.
Oh, I only show art from the Rio Grande Valley, and I will also display art by people outside the valley who have come down here and do things that are really specific to this area. I've been working with a photographer from the Carolinas doing a piece about the mojados, or illegal immigrants that come across the border and leave artifacts on the levee and on the street. She's photographed these things in situ and then collected them. It should be a very interesting exhibition. But I'm trying to kind of pump up the art scene down here. There was never a commercial gallery in Brownsville before this that lasted more than 6 months. This really is the only place that's set up to sell modern art here in Brownsville. And so I've got a monopoly. What I'd like now is some competition. I like things that are a little more modern, a little edgier, things that ask questions. I think art is all about an exchange of ideas. But we got some pretty funny guys here. This is Ramon Barrella. A very interesting drawing in here. There's kind of layers of imagery. This one is by one of my favorite finds here in the valley. It's Oscar the Undertaker Alvarez.